Here you go.
هؤلاء إخوانكم وأخواتكم صنعوا هذا المجد، صنعوا هذا الطوفان، طوفان الأقصى. انتصروا فيه للأقصى يوم رأوه يدنس منذ شهور طويلة، ورأوا الأقصى في خطر من الهدم والتقسيم وبناء الهيكل المزعوم. هذا الطوفان.
There's one thing I have to mention here. And as I grow up as a Muslim in Morocco and I lived there for 32 years, there is a rumor that is going around and reinforced through media outlets about Israel is building a temple. They are trying to dig under Al-Aqsa mosque in order to demolish the mosque and build the temple over it. Hamas is using this rumor, this lie that it's living for a long time in the Muslim world, and everybody's repeating it. I grew up hearing it. Everybody at school, in the mosque, preachers, everywhere. And I think Israel and Western media should address this issue because it's just building hatred towards Israel. It's not the truth because I visited myself those sites and I saw by my own eyes what was going on. There is no digging to demolish the mosque. They are not trying to build the temple, but that's what Hamas uses so they can have people around them, and that's why the massacre that happened on October 7th, they called it the flood of Al-Aqsa because they have to use Al-Aqsa mosque as a religious excuse. So the Muslim masses will have no problem with killing people to save the mosque. So it's a tool to lead the herd mentality that they believe that the Aqsa Mosque is very important for them. That's where Muhammad had his night journey. That's where he ascended to heaven, and he got the 5 prayers during that night. So it's a very important site for them, and they try to use that so they can incite people for violence against Israel. And I repeat here, it should be addressed. Cameras should go there and film, and it should be debunked, period. Because it's still building a lot of hatred towards Israel, and it's a huge lie. Anyway, so let's continue here. Khalid Mashal.
أغرقوا فيه كرامة الاحتلال في الوحل، وهذا الطوفان أحيا فينا الروح.
He's saying this flood, this operation, this massacre revived us, revived the pride and dignity. And actually he's borrowing the words that Sheikh Al-Azhar used in the same context. Sheikh Al-Azhar, he used it on October 7th, and I'm just going to share with you. This is the original tweet from Al-Azhar. Al-Azhar is the biggest institute in the Muslim world, and it just said the same thing. Let me say it in English. The massacre breathed spirit in us and gave us life back after we thought it will never come back. So Al-Azhar shared this. Khalid Mashal is sharing the same thing, using the same terminology, and to incite people so they can carry violence the coming Friday. Friday, the 13th of October, it's going to be a big day, and that's why I'm doing this live, because it's very important, it's very dangerous, it's very urgent. The terminology that Khalid Mashal used, it's very extremely dangerous. Worldwide, the ideas he used, all jihadis understand them. All the sleeping cells worldwide, they will receive the message and they know exactly what to do. So this is not to scare anybody, but to be vigilant as somebody who studied terrorism for many years, studied Islam, studied the Islamic jihadist groups, I'm telling you, it's when I saw it, I understood it. I understood the terminology, and I understood if I was one of the jihadists, I will do something on Friday. So listen carefully.
هي فينا العزة والكرامة، جدد صفحات التاريخ. ما هي مسؤوليتنا غير أن نفرح ونعتز وندعو؟ أدعوكم وأنا معكم وكلنا نتحمل المسؤولية إلى أمور أبدأ بما اعتدنا عليه، لكن نريده بسقف أعلى.
So here he says we need this with a higher bar. It's very important to understand what he's talking about. This time we want to raise the bar of our demands. This is not like any time that Hamas had a clash with Israel, not any other time when we fired rockets and Israel retaliated. This is different time. We're going to raise the bar this time. And that's why he was preparing the audience for what's coming. And let's hear
الغضب
anger.
المنزل في الميادين والساحات والشارع العربي والإسلامي وعلى مدى الجاليات في كل مكان.
So he's calling people in the Muslim world and also Muslims wherever they are. The migrant communities in London and Paris, in New York, in Sydney, everywhere in the world. He's calling them to join him in what he's demanding. So this is actually an activation of the whole Muslim world in Muslim countries and in the Western countries, wherever they are. They should listen carefully to him. This message, we don't know exactly how spread it was, but let me tell you, just from YouTube, from looking at Facebook pages, from WhatsApp groups, from Telegram groups, millions have seen this. Millions have listened to Khalid Mashal. Let's continue.
هناك دعوة يوم الجمعة، جمعة طوفان الأقصى.
The Friday of the Al-Aqsa flood. Jum'at Tufan Al-Aqsa. The Friday of the Al-Aqsa flood. He's calling it that way. Usually, Muslim groups, the Friday is the best time to gather people because they gather around prayer, and from prayer they go out to the streets. It's a tactic very known among Islamic groups, especially Muslim Brotherhood. They used it in Egypt, they used it in Syria, they used it in Yemen, they used it in Morocco, they used it everywhere. After Friday, people already gathered, already are full of religious feelings, and usually Friday sermons help fuel people so they get out angry and mad and willing to do something about it. So he called it the Friday of the flood of Al-Aqsa, and he's imagining now in his head it's going to be a flood that's going to cover all Western capitals, all Muslim capitals, in the name of Al-Aqsa and Palestine.
لكن نفعل قبل الجمعة وبعد الجمعة ويوم الجمعة.
So he's also asking to do it, even if you can't, before Friday, after Friday. When I come to my conclusion at the end, I'm just saying, listen carefully. It's not only Friday. It could be Saturday. Jewish sites definitely will be targeted. So those who pray on Saturday, just be careful. It's not only Friday. That's the wording he's using. I'm not adding anything to his words. The subtitles are there. The original in Arabic is there. I can send the transcript and also the translation to anybody who wants it. And it's free. You can use it. It's not copyrighted. You can use it wherever you want. I don't want anything. I just want to spread the information.
نريد أن نقول للصهاينة لقادتهم المجرمين وغلاتهم وللأمريكان الذين هبوا لنجدتهم، لأن عندهم ازدواجية معايير، يرون معركة أوكرانيا عادلة ولا يرون معركة الشعب الفلسطيني عادلة.
So he's talking about this is a message that we want to send to Israel, the Zionists, wherever they are, and to America. And he says, he uses an analogy that most Muslims that you will use. Oh, look at them helping Ukraine, not helping Palestine. It's the same cause. No, sir, it's not the same cause. Russia invaded Ukraine. Ukraine was a country already, had a president, had institutions, had everything. Palestine never existed as a country, didn't have a president, didn't have a land. It's just a land that was there. Everybody lived there. It has a different history. Don't try to confuse the two things. Second, Ukrainians didn't go to a music festival done by Russians. They went to it. They massacred 1,200 people. They killed babies. They raped a woman or took off her clothes and paraded Ukraine with her body. They didn't do that. Only Hamas did that. So you are like ISIS more than Ukraine. They just use false analogies. I have seen this many times. Muslims, Islamic groups, Islamists always use false analogies to convince people. And people buy that, swallow it, and start using it after them.
وجهوا رسالة عبر الساحات والميادين، رسالة غضب أننا مع فلسطين، مع غزة، مع الأقصى، مع القدس، وأننا جزء من هذه المعركة.
Listen to this. He wants people, especially Muslims in Western countries, to say we are part of this. And actually, many of them are. Whenever you see those protests that are going everywhere in New York, Sydney, Paris, London, and Canada, they are siding with Hamas. It doesn't matter what Hamas does. And sometimes they don't want to say even Hamas. We are with Palestine. Actually, you are with Hamas because the fight now is with Hamas. Palestinians, they always use like a camouflage, like certain thing to cover up that they are siding with Hamas. Hamas is designated as a terrorist group by many Western countries. It killed people from different countries, from America, from UK, from France, from Germany, from Italy, from different countries. So it's a terrorist group and killed those, still have hostages, and killed Israelis too, peaceful people. Most of them, they were peaceful. They were in a musical festival. They took them by surprise and they killed them. They butchered them. They massacred them. It has nothing to do with, when you side with that, you are siding with terrorism. If you say you are defending the cause of Palestinians, who are the Palestinians? Most of the Palestinians that are fighting are Islamic groups. Al-Jihad, Al-Islami, Fath, Hamas. So when you say, I am fighting for the Palestinians, who's going to govern that Palestine? It's Hamas and those groups. So you're fighting for them. You are siding with them against civilians and against people who are their victims. Let's listen more.
هذا أولا. ثانيا، غزة.
So the first thing was to show rage and to go out and show rage. How are they going to show rage? Rage can be shown only through violence, either verbally, most likely physically. Second thing, listen.
تستغيث بكم لنجدتها إغاثيا وماليا بكل ما تملكون. كل من يستطيع أن يقدم هذه لحظة الحقيقة. هذا جهاد بالمال كما يجاهدون بأنفسهم. قدموا لغزة ولمقاومتها ولأبطالها، عوضوهم عن هذا الدمار. ترون هذه الجريمة الصهيونية اليوم. نتنياهو يطبق سياسة الأرض المحروقة.
So he's asking for financial help to compensate for the destruction that is happening right now in Gaza. And he's blaming, of course, Israel. So financial aid usually doesn't reach the poor in Palestine or in Gaza or in all those poor areas. Usually it goes to their pockets. Khalid Mashal and all the leadership, they are living a luxurious life in Qatar and Turkey and other places. They have palaces, they have nice cars, they have their kids studying abroad. They are just using normal Muslims as a fuel for this war. They are not doing anything for the Palestinians. They are using the money either for terrorism or for themselves. The poor gets nothing at the end. But he's asking for money right now. It's an opportunity for fundraising, and he's using it so their pocket can get wealthier.
ويتفرج لأنه أخذ ضوء أخضر أمريكي وغربي وبعض الصمت العربي. إيانا أن نخذل إخواننا. وثالثا نريد
The third thing, he wants a political movement from the people and from Muslim leaders.
حراكا سياسيا من الشعوب، من القادة، من زعماء الأمة. نريد حراكا على كل المحافل لنوقف الجريمة الصهيونية ولنصطف مع المقاومة، مع غزة ومع القدس والأقصى ومع فلسطين. هذا ما أدعوكم إليه وهو ما اعتدنا عليه. لكن بقي ما هو أهم وما هو أولى وأوجب.
So this is the most important part that I'm going to talk about. He's going to talk about jihad, global jihad. Right now he was making an introduction. The first thing, showing rage, and second is financial. Third is political pressure, but fourth is global jihad. Let's listen.
نحن أمام الحقيقة، وهنا أقول بكل وضوح وبلا لجلجة ولا تردد: هذه لحظة أن تنخرط الأمة في المعركة، أن نقاتل معهم. الشيخ عبد الله عزام هذا الشهيد القائد هذا فلسطيني، لكنه تحرك لقضية أفغانستان قبل سنوات طويلة كما تعلمون، وجعلها قضية الأمة. أين عبد الله عزام من أمتنا الذي يجعل قضية فلسطين؟
So for those who do not know Abdullah Azzam considered as the father of jihad, Afghani jihad. He is the father of all the Islamic groups that came after that. He's the father of Al-Qaeda, of ISIS, of Hamas, all of these. So he's referring to Abdullah Azzam as the godfather. He is the mujahid. He is the one who started all of this. So he's referring because that makes sense, that resonates with the people who love jihad, all the Islamic groups. Abdullah Azzam, he's the one who says we are terrorists. Actually, there's a famous clip, if you Google it on YouTube, and you'll find it. He said we are terrorists. We are required to terrorize the whole world. So he admitted it, and Khalid Mashal is using him as an inspirational figure. Let's continue.
القضية الحاضرة عند كل أبناء الأمة، ونعم يحضر نفسه للشهادة.
So he's asking, is there now an Abdullah Azzam that we can find? And he should be prepared to have martyrdom, like be martyred for this cause. A leader who can lead this movement on the ground and be a mujahid like Abdullah Azzam and lead the crowds.
كما استشهد عبد الله عزام. أين العلماء الذين يخرجون فتوى بوجوب القتال على أرض فلسطين على كل مسلم ومسلمة؟
So he's asking, where are the Muslim clerics right now? They can issue a fatwa and make it a mandatory thing to do jihad. And I'm going to talk a little bit about jihad, a little explanation for those who do not have the depth to understand jihad. Jihad is not inner struggle, as some say. It's the struggle. It's the struggle or the fight. Two kinds of jihad. There are two kinds. One is called jihad al-talab, or going out seeking the enemy, usually to spread Islam. It should be done at least once a year by the caliph, Khalifa. And if one, it's not mandatory upon every Muslim. If a group of Muslims do it, then other Muslims, they don't have to do it. They are not considered sinners. They are not going to carry a sin of not doing that kind of jihad. If nobody does it, then you are a sinner because it goes on the shoulder of everybody. There is jihad al-dafa. Jihad al-dafa is defensive jihad. It's whenever an Islamic land is occupied, all Muslims should wage jihad to free it. Whenever there is a Muslim as a prisoner among the unbelievers, the Muslim Ummah, all of them, they should wage jihad to free that Muslim. And this is what the jihadists of 9/11 used when I studied their wills when they recorded it. They mentioned that these two things exist, so jihad is a must in this case, and every Muslim should carry jihad. Jihad usually either a sufficient obligation, means like a part of the Muslim Ummah do it and the rest are not sinners. If nobody does it, then all we are sinners. There is the individual obligation, means everybody has to do it. In this case of Hamas, mentioning Palestine, mentioning a fatwa, everybody has to carry jihad. This is why this is very dangerous, very important to understand. Each Muslim in this case is required by what Khalid Mashal is saying. Every Muslim is required to do his part in this jihad. It could be anything. Could be anything. And when I say anything, that includes everything. Just listen carefully.
أن نفقد الأقصى، أن يهدم، أن يبنى الكنيس، أن يبنى الهيكل، أن يكون مآل الأقصى كالمسجد الإبراهيمي في الخليل. هذه عزتنا، كرامتنا، شرفنا. لذلك مطلوب من الجميع. أنا أخاطب طبعا دول الطوق أولا، الأردن، سوريا، لبنان، مصر، كل أبنائها وبناتها.
So he started with some countries, especially Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan. He asked because they are closer to that place, but doesn't mean he excludes everybody else. He starts with those, he focuses on them so they can do something, because the borders, Israel now is busy, so the borders will be vulnerable, so they can go in masses, overwhelm Israel from every place, every corner, and he imagines that will be very chaotic scene that will help free Palestine. That's their imaginary scenario.
رسميا وشعبيا واجبكم أكبر، لأنكم الأقرب إلى فلسطين، وأنتم في ظلال هذه القداسة التي بؤرتها القدس والأقصى. أخاطب في الأردن عشائره الكريمة اللي ما زال شهداؤهم يقيمون في ثرى فلسطين، شرف عظيم. أخاطب المخيمات في ربوع الأردن، هذه الأردن أرض الحشد والرباط اللي سموتريتش يريد أن يلغيها كما سمعتموه في باريس. الأردن الذي يتعرض لهذه المؤامرة لشطب الأردن، وأهل فلسطين هم الذين بصمودهم يحمون الأردن. هذه الانتفاضة العملاقة وهذه المقاومة المتصاعدة في الضفة الغربية هي اللي أربكت مخططات هؤلاء الصهاينة. هم يحمون القدس والأقصى والفلسطين، ويحمون الأردن، ويحمون الأمة العربية والإسلامية، وهذا واجبهم ولا فخر. فإذا فلننتصر لهم ولننتصر لأنفسنا. يا عشائر الأردن، يا أبناء الأردن، يا إخواني وأخواتي في الأردن، من كل جهاتكم واتجاهاتكم ومنابتكم الكريمة.
He's focusing on Jordan a lot because he wants Jordanians to go to the borders and overwhelm the security forces there and make a jihad and try to go through and help the situation so the tension will not be that huge on people of Gaza.
كريمة، هذه لحظة الحقيقة. الحدود قريبة منكم، كل يعرف مسؤوليته. هذا ينطبق على كل الشعوب.
So now he goes to all people. Okay, I'm focused on Jordanians, but this is for everybody else. Egyptians, Moroccans, Algerians, do your part.
أيها العلماء الذين تدرسون الجهاد في سبيل الله وتبشرون المجاهدين والشهداء.
So he's calling upon all the schools that taught jihad all these years. It was just by theory. There is no ground to practice what you have learned. By the way, there was a lot of ground to practice that, but anyway, just swallow that one and let it go. So he said, I mean, with ISIS, there was a lot of ground to carry jihad. With Al-Qaeda, there was a lot of practice there. And through history, for 1400 years, there was a lot of practice, not just theory. But anyway, he considers this a very good occasion to practice what you have learned from all Muslim sources, from the Quran, from the Hadith, from the Seerah, from all the Islamic teachings, Islamic doctrines. This is your opportunity to practice what you have learned. It's like when you learn medicine, you need to practice medicine in order to be good at what you are learning. And this is the same case for jihad. Jihad is not only here, it should be something we do on the ground to be an actual jihad.
تدرسون الجهاد في أبواب الفقه، يا من يدرس ويدرس. هذه لحظة التطبيق حتى لا يظل كأن كلامنا مجرد كلام، لأن الله سائلنا: لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون؟ كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. اليوم هذه اللحظة التي تحدثنا عنها في الماضي أصبحت اليوم واجب. الصهاينة لعبوا بالنار، ولو تركنا الأقصى لولا هذا الفعل النضالي في الداخل والخارج، خاصة في القدس والضفة، والتي جعلت إخوانكم في غزة رغم حصارهم ينتصرون للأقصى في طوفان الأقصى. لولا ذلك لضاع الأقصى، وسيكون لا سمح الله هذا عار علينا في الدنيا والآخرة. لذلك أدعوكم في هذه اللحظة، أدعو كل واحد، هذا النفير للجهاد مسؤولية فردية.
He used a word here that I have to stop here. He used a word that it's like code red. He's calling everybody to do jihad. Basically, he used the word. He called it an-nafir. An-nafir al-am, when we use it, it means we are calling everybody to do jihad. All Muslims, everywhere. It's an emergency, an extreme case. It's a global call to jihad. You don't need permission actually to do that. When you hear an nafir al-am, global call, you just drop what you're doing and go. Whatever in your hand, use it. There's no time to waste. A woman doesn't need the permission of her husband. A husband doesn't need permission. A soldier doesn't need a permission from his government. A kid doesn't need permission from his parents. It's an emergency. There is no time for anything else. You just go and carry jihad. So that's the word he used. It's very important to note this is a word that all jihadis understand. And when you hear a nafir, it means I'm calling you to join us. It's life or death. There is nothing more important than this.
جماعيا بتقاتلوا فرديا كل واحد ومسؤوليته. الأقصى دونكم. والله حين يرى العالم وأمريكا والغرب والصهاينة أن الأمة انتصرت للأقصى وقوافل المجاهدين بدأت تذهب لتريق دمها الزكي على أرض فلسطين، ستتغير
So he is asking people to go shed their blood there. This is a very dangerous call. I don't know why people are not paying a lot of attention to it. I have seen people sharing my tweet a lot, millions shared it, but it should have been more dangerous, more alarming than this. Every news outlet should talk about it. This guy is calling Muslims everywhere to turn the world into a ground for war. He's calling Muslims everywhere to commit acts of jihad, acts of terrorism. This is not something that should go lightly. This is not something we dismiss. This guy is a very important figure in Hamas leadership. He is very respected among jihadists. He is one of the founding members of Hamas. All Muslim Brotherhood worldwide will listen to him, will obey his orders, and just listen to what he's saying. He's asking them to shed their pure blood. Of course, the ones who are closer to Palestine, they will shed it there, but the ones who are far cannot fly there. They know where to shed their blood. This is not something hidden. Just read what he's saying.
المعركة ستتغير موازين القوى، سيتغير المشهد بأكمله. مش نتنياهو الذي بتدميره للأحياء في غزة هو الذي يصنع الحاضر، وإحنا سنصنع المستقبل، بس لا نصنعه بالكلام ولا بالتمني ولا بالدعاء ولا بالمال فقط. المال مطلوب، لكن اليوم مطلوب دماء وأرواح. هذا بيت القصيد.
Listen to the last sentence he said. This is
المستقبل، بس لا نصنعه بالكلام ولا بالتمني ولا بالدعاء ولا بالمال فقط. المال مطلوب، لكن اليوم
money is needed. But today, blood and lives are required. This is the bottom line. Yeah, we need money. Yeah, we need you to help us financially. But we need blood. We need lives. This is a very disturbing message. This guy lives protected. He lives in Qatar. There are some reports talk about him. He was in Turkey. I don't know where he is right now as he recorded his message, but most likely either Qatar or Turkey. There's nowhere else. And he's living there, and he's like bin Laden, sending a message to his followers everywhere to carry acts of terrorism. Why nobody is trying to find this guy and eliminate him, as they did with bin Laden, Zawahiri, Zarqawi, Al-Awlaqi, all those guys. They're asking for destroying the whole world. Nobody will be safe in Paris or London or New York or Madrid or anywhere. Jews are going to be the first target. American interests, places, they will be the second target. Why? Because America sent help to Israel and defending Israel. So whoever stands with Israel is going to be a target. And it's going to happen no matter what. We have just to be vigilant and protect ourselves. I want to show you some pictures. These guys are living their lives. He's playing the jihad of ping pong. Yeah, that's another type of jihad. Jihad of gym. He goes to the gym. He wants to be fit for jihad. He has his own jihad, probably with his wives at night. He is biking. He's sending Muslim kids to die. He's sending all Muslims who are defending Hamas to die. Of course, he will never go to die. He's not going to be a martyr. He's not going to go to carry any attack by himself, but He's sending others to do it. That's what Islamic the leaders of Al Qaeda did. That's the leaders of other groups did. They just sent other kids to die, and they saved their kids. Yasser Arafat, he left a huge fortune for his daughter. She's studying abroad, and the ones who were sent by Arafat to carry acts of terrorism, they are long gone. They left nothing. They got nothing, just destruction. It's the same thing over and over. It's not history repeating itself, but dumb people are repeating the same mistakes. That's what it is. So again, I'm just saying this is
مطلوب دماء
this
وأرواح.
is a
هذا
very disturbing message. I tweeted about it last night, but I wanted to make a video so people can see the translation connected to the original video. I didn't just make that up. It's there. And this translation probably will help so many people to understand what's going on. Again, what's the solution right now? What should we do? What is the goal? Well, Hamas, it seems they were not happy with the peace talks between Israel and other nations, normalization of their ties with different countries like Morocco, like UAE, like other countries. Saudi Arabia was going to join. So they were not happy. They wanted to stop that. That's their first goal. And second, they want to turn the whole region in the Middle East into a chaotic place. And Islamic groups, they flourish a lot when there is chaos, when there are wars, when there are fights, when a country is against another country, when others join the fight. Any chaos is good for them. A chaotic state in the Middle East is the best scenario Hamas can hope for. So that's their first goal. The second goal is to involve Muslim immigrants everywhere in this fight. With the fight against terrorism, with the fight against ISIS, we have seen a decline in terrorist acts in last few years. There are still other fights or acts of terrorism carried everywhere else, but at least in Europe and in America, we didn't see major attacks like we used to in the previous years. Hamas, of course, they don't want that, because the more there are acts of terrorism, the more as there is pressure on Western governments and keep them busy instead of focusing on helping Israel fight their fight against terrorism. The more the violence is spread, the more they can work and they can do whatever they want because everybody's distracted by their own problems. So this is one of their strategies. And the more they incite violence and they show strength, that people are with them, and that Palestine is not going away as a cause and still incite people for violence, then they think that will make pressure on other countries to give them some to help them in their case and try to give them their demands, because they have demands, and probably in their pressure and their violence, you will submit to their will and you will give them what they are demanding. This is how Islamists think. Always the same thinking. They thought by doing 9/11, they will make pressure on the U.S. and the U.S. will leave the Middle East and will not be involved in Middle Eastern affairs. They think the same thing. Let's hurt countries, by hurting them, they will give up and we will get what we want. It's simple. That's how they think. Don't think they are smart, they have other ideas. This is the idea. We will hit. When you get hit, you will cry, you will give up, we will get what we want. We will threaten you. If you help, we will do more. So violence, that's why it's called terrorism. We terrorize you if you don't give us what we want. So Hamas is declaring global jihad. Friday the 13th will be the beginning of that. We will see, I predict, I hope, I pray I am wrong, but I predict there will be terrorist acts uh, anywhere, especially in the West, in some Muslim countries where Jews are probably going as tourists or for their business. Just be vigilant, because wherever there are people vulnerable, they will attack them. They take advantage of any hole in any system and they will use that hole to get what they want. So those who are traveling, like what happened in Egypt, people got killed, Jewish tourists, they got killed in Alexandria by an officer, a police officer. He shot them and he killed them. Why? Because he got this zeal for the Palestine cause and he wants to stand with his brothers and sisters in Hamas against Israel. So any Jew, he's a target. Any lady, any male, female, they are targets. So that's why I gave a warning and I did this video. I hope nothing happens. Stay safe and God bless you.